Introduction to Eden Standards. Since its founding, Eden, the Electronic Data Extraction Network, has operated under the core principle that the greatest reward of participation in any network is that individual members of the network can benefit from the collective knowledge and experience of all members. As part of our ongoing efforts to help Eden members realize this benefit, Eden is developing standards, best practices guidance in all phases of electronic discovery. The Eden standards are presented from the viewpoint of the technical personnel supporting e-discovery in litigation. They are designed to be practical in nature, and every standard includes forms, templates, and record-keeping instruction. In recent years, there's been a great deal of discussion about standards in e-discovery, most of which is focused on the big picture issues of scope, cost, and cost shifting. These are important questions, eloquently argued by teams of skilled attorneys in courtrooms across the country. What's been noticeably missing from this debate is discussion of the mundane, pick-and-shovel e-discovery concerns that affect every case, the elementary technical issues and practical challenges involved in extracting data from electronic storage media, processing it into document review software applications, and supporting the review and production of the data as discovery or evidence. A lack of practical standards has meant that as e-discovery professionals, we have been challenged to defend our work piecemeal when it is subjected to scrutiny. How many copies did we make of an active data source? Why did we image some hard drives and merely copy others? How did we decide to approach extraction efforts from a mail server, and why? Our answers to questions such as these may all make sense, but it would be far more comforting to call on the additional support of a practical, sensible guideline developed with the input of a nationwide community of e-discovery service providers. If our national Eden community agrees on best practices for e-discovery processes and their documentation, we all benefit. We will do our jobs well, and our clients will know that the data extracted or processed by us has been handled in a safe and reasonable manner. When an attorney or judge asks how we can be confident that we have taken the right course of action, we can point to the backing of a nationwide support network. The ongoing development of Eden standards will also help us keep up to date on the ever-evolving and emerging technical and legal challenges of e-discovery by keeping our community engaged in dialogue about recent developments in our industry. Development of Eden standards. Development of Eden standards is based on the principle that effective, practical standards can only be created by considering and reconciling disparate viewpoints, by pooling the collective knowledge and experience of a broad range of voices. Each Eden standard is developed in accordance with the Eden Standards lifecycle. This process is coordinated by the Eden Standards Council, with the entire Eden community, as well as the general public, invited to share their perspectives, their experiences, and their unique input and insights. The Eden Standards lifecycle is a four-stage process which begins with the preliminary release of a proposed standard, progresses through comment, revision, and review stages, and culminates with the adoption of the standard. Although the lifecycle is fluid and has no preset fixed timeline, most proposed standards are expected to proceed from preliminary release to final adoption within 3 to 6 months. Let's take a closer look at each of the lifecycle stages. Stage 1, preliminary release and comment period. Development of Eden standards begins with the preliminary release of a proposed standard via the Eden Standards webpage, a Slack-based blog, and Eden newsletter. The preliminary release includes the text of the proposed standard and commentary on the need for and the issues addressed by the proposed standard. Most standards will also be accompanied by the preliminary release of suggested sample forms and/or checklists that can assist in maintaining and documenting compliance with the standard. The samples are intended to serve as a model upon which Eden members can develop documentation unique to their specific needs. The preliminary release of the proposed standard and comment period will be open to the general public. However, access to forms, checklists, and other materials are a benefit provided only to Eden members. Depending upon the complexity of a particular proposed standard, the comment period of 30 to 120 days follows preliminary release. The comment period allows for Eden members in the electronic discovery community at large to provide insight and input into the proposed Eden standard and provide suggestions for revisions and improvements to the standard in light of changing technology and their own experiences. Eden members are also invited and encouraged to comment on the proposed forms. Stage 2, Review and Revision Period. After the conclusion of Stage 1, the Eden Standards Council carefully compiles and reviews feedback from all sources, reviews and revises the proposed standard as necessary, and recommends one of 3 actions. 1. If the Stage 1 comment period and subsequent review did not result in any changes to the proposed standard, the Council will recommend that the standard be adopted as proposed. 2. If the Stage 1 comment period and subsequent review supported only minor revisions to the proposed standard, and the minor changes don't warrant a second comment period, the Council will recommend adoption of the standard incorporating the minor changes. Finally, if the Stage 1 comment period and subsequent review resulted in major revisions to the proposed standard, the Council will recommend preliminary release of a new proposed standards that incorporates the major changes. Proposed standards receiving Recommendation 3 will return to Stage 1 for re-release and proceed through the standards development lifecycle until Recommendation 1 or 2 is obtained. For proposed standards receiving Recommendation 1 or 2, the process proceeds to Stage 3. Stage 3, Final Release and Comment Period, Adoption. Stage 3 involves the release of the final Eden Standard and associated compliance forms. The release of each final Eden Standard will be accompanied by a brief final comment period. Upon expiration of the final comment period, the Council will announce either A. Final adoption of the proposed standard and an effective date for the adopted standard, or B. Reversion to Stage 2 for additional review and revision. A re-adopted standard then proceeds to Stage 4. Stage 4, Ongoing Comment, Review, and Revision. As practical standards that are wedded to ever-evolving technology and day-to-day experience, Eden standards are not intended to be fixed in stone, but subject to ongoing comment, review, and revision. During Stage 4 of the standards lifecycle, the Standards Council will continue to accept, review, and consider comments and suggestions for revisions and improvements to any adopted standards in light of changing technology and practical experience. When, from time to time, the Council determines that it's appropriate to revise, update, or improve an adopted standard, the standards lifecycle will begin anew with the preliminary release of a revised proposed standard. Thank you for taking the time to let us introduce you to the development of Eden Standards, and we hope that you will be an active participant in the standards development process. As always, if you have any questions or comments at all, please feel free to contact Eden at any time.